Today's lesson is a language structures and conventions lesson, and we'll be looking at plurals, gerunds, and doing a language practice activity. Good morning, grade 5s. So for today's lesson, we're going to look at plural nouns, and we're going to look at some of the rules that we use. We're then going to look at gerunds, and we're going to finish off with a quick language practice activity. There is also a reading that needs to be done today, and that has been attached in the Drive folder. So please don't forget to read that. The first thing we're going to look at today are plural nouns. The word plural means more than one in number. In most cases, a noun will form its plural by adding s at the end of the word to form a plural form. So, for example, shoe becomes shoes, car becomes cars. We have a number of rules for forming plurals. So the basic one is to add an s, and that works for most nouns. There is also the rule to add es to nouns that end in ch and sh. And examples of this are branch, which becomes branches, and brush, which becomes brushes. Our next rule is to add es to nouns that end in s and x. So dress becomes dresses, and axe becomes axes. In nouns that end with an f or with an fe, we change that to ves. So for example, leaf becomes leaves, and loaf becomes loaves. The next rule we're going to look at is when the word or the noun ends in y, with a consonant before the y. What you do is you drop the y and you add ies. So for example, baby becomes babies. We also have plurals that are irregular, so they don't follow any of these rules. And two examples are tooth, which becomes teeth, and mouse, which becomes mice. So I want you to look at this extract from the reading you're going to do at the end of the lesson. But after many years, men who had lived in fear of these demons and monsters took control of the land. The trees of the forests were cut for wood, the plains filled with towns, the seas were sailed and mapped on charts. If you look at this, you can see a number of examples of plurals. So, years. Years is the plural form of year. We also have demons, which is the plural form of demon. Monsters, plural form of monster. Trees, which is the plural form of tree. Forests, plural form of forest. Plains, plural form of plain. Towns, plural form of town. Seas, plural form of sea. And charts, plural form of chart. Those are all plural forms that have added s to the end. But we also have one irregular plural noun in this text. Can anybody see it? For those of you who can't or didn't catch on to it, the correct answer is men. Men is the plural form of man, and it is an irregular plural, meaning that it doesn't follow any of the rules. I want you now on a piece of paper, just to quickly, just rough, not neat or anything, as we go through this, see if you can figure out the correct plural for the following nouns. Please remember that spelling is important. If your spelling is incorrect in a test or an exam, you are not going to get it correct. So our first word is girl. The plural form for girl is Plurals. It just adds an S to the end. It follows the rule of adding an S, which is used for most nouns. Our second word is story. One story, many. Stories. We take away the Y and we add IES. Our last one we're going to look at is knife. One knife, many. Knives. So we take the FE and it becomes VES. I hope that you got those three correct. If not, go back and review the rules before completing today's language activity. The next language structure that we are going to look at today are gerunds. A gerund is a noun formed from a verb. So all gerunds end in ing. So for example, the town attended a meeting. In this one, we've taken the verb meet, I meet with your parents, and added ing, and it has formed a noun. It has the function of a noun in that sentence. My new hobby is running. Our verb that was taken and then to form this is run. And please notice that because it ended in the N here, we've added a second N afterwards before the ing. And then our last one is I love acting. We've taken the verb act and we have added ing so that it forms the function of a noun in the sentence. So acting forms the function of a noun. What is important to remember is that it is only a gerund if it acts as a noun in the sentence. So if you look at the two sentences that are on the screen now, I was meeting with a new client. I went to a meeting. Both have the word meeting in it, but in the two sentences, they have been used as two different parts of speech. So in the first sentence, I was meeting with a new client. Meeting is a verb. It is not a noun. I was meeting. It is the action that is being done. In the second one, it is a gerund because it is taking the place, or it is functioning as a noun. I went to a meeting. Think of it like this. I went to a playground. We know that playground would be a common noun, and meeting in the same sense is a noun. So please be very careful. Just because a word ends in ing does not mean that it is a gerund. It is only a gerund if it is functioning as a noun in the sentence. So I want us to have a bit of practice. Again, just on your little bit of piece of scrap paper, see if you can do this before I give the answers. So in the following sentence, I want you to select the gerund. There is only one gerund per sentence. On your piece of paper, I want you to write down for both of the sentences what our gerund is. So number one, talking and eloquence are not the same. To speak and to speak well are two things. What is our gerund in that sentence? The correct answer is talking. Number two, eat before shopping. If you go to the store hungry, you are likely to make unnecessary purchases. I love eating sweets. That's not the best thing to eat, but this is very good advice. Actually eat proper food that fills you up. So quickly on your piece of paper, what is our gerund? The correct answer is shopping. Now that we've looked at gerunds and we've looked at plurals, I want to do a quick language practice activity. There are only a few plurals and gerunds in the activities. I've also included subject and object, which we did last term, just to see how you're coping with both of these concepts. So what you need to do is you need to complete the language practice activity. You have two options for completing the activity. You can do the online activity, which will be automatically marked for you, and you will get your answers at the end. The link is down below if you're watching this as a YouTube video. If you're not watching this as a YouTube video, the link is also included on the instruction sheets that you were sent. Your second option for completing the activity is to download the worksheet and to complete the activity on the worksheet if you print it out, or you can complete it on lined paper. If you complete it on lined paper, please be aware that you only need to write the answer down. For both doing it on the worksheet or on the lined paper or the online activity, your caps or your capital letters is very important. If you are asked to identify something in the sentence and that word starts with a capital letter, in your answer, it has to start with a capital letter, especially if it is a proper noun. If it does not start with a capital letter and your answer starts with a capital letter, the activity is going to mark it wrong. So please check that your capital letters are correct, and please also check that your spelling is correct, as the quiz is spelling sensitive. When you have finished with that, I would then like you just to read the story in preparation for tomorrow's lesson. That's all for today's lesson. So until tomorrow, goodbye, and I hope that you're having a good week.